y'all. You don't stop. Flower child. To the beach, y'all. Wait, I met this girl when I was 12 years old. Give her everything, the shot of the world. Gonna get a grip every time. I try to hold on, I slip deep in the feeling that gravity pulls me down. I know I'm tripping, I'm falling in love with the drum breaks. She keep me safe from the gunplay when I'm homeless. She feed my soul when I'm lonely. She keep me coming. It's funny. I used to wanna grow older, travel with sight in these rhymes. So they realize that she got me out of my mind. I'm trying to kick these nerves to grab hold to the microphone. Got her nodding along. Maybe she'll save the world for me. Maybe she'll right my wrongs. If I'm coming on too strong, oh well. Only way to tell is by saying this how I feel, and that's real. You're something special for me.
What up, what up, what up? You know what? I forgot to title this show. Let's do that right now. I forgot to title this show. So people are like, what the hell am I watching? Glad you asked. Today we're going to talk about image, how your record and your record and your image. Your record and your image. So, let's go ahead and get into this. Because oftentimes I'll hear guys saying how they can't get a job because of their record. Can your image fix your record? Even better, your image and your record. All right, your image and your record. There we go. I'm not going to be on here that long. And one thing I wanted to really touch base on is a lot of times guys really don't understand how much their image really affects everything in their life. You know, if you've been to prison, you have a lot of arrests on your record, and it doesn't matter whether they're felonies, misdemeanors. If you have arrests, a lot of times guys are like, you know what, that keeps me out of all kinds of opportunities, and that's not necessarily true. Now, what can you do to improve your chances of getting a job, the job you want? What can you do to improve any of that? You need to address your image. You need to address your image right now. And more than anything, when I'm talking about your image, I am talking about not your clothes, as much as I'm talking about your behavior and the way you communicate. Let me get on here and see who's on here. I'm sorry, guys. I went back to OBS, and this is kind of throwing me off. I'm not going directly from Zoom. I mean, I like Zoom, but it has its quirks. I'll do Zoom for my podcast shows and interactive shows. Now, we got 167 people watching. How many people here? If you want to share, you can tell if you have a record or you know somebody that has a record. If you have a record or you know somebody that has a record, and they feel like they're being locked out of employment opportunities, they can't get interviews. What's going on there? Tell it. Never too late to reinvent your image. That's right. Oftentimes people don't think that just because you have had some arrests, you've had some charges, The best thing you can do is actually talk to a professional. See, this is one thing that a lot of guys just typically don't do. We don't talk to professionals. We try to figure it out ourselves. We try to blood and guts this shit, and that's not going to work, man. Because what you don't know is stopping you. But I would say this point blank: when I was in corporate America, I worked with many men who had extensive arrests, some even felonies. Things that guys on the block or guys back in the neighborhood, you know, wouldn't have even thought about trying to apply for these jobs. I'm talking about managers, regional managers, directors, vice presidents. I'm in a meeting one day, and our regional vice president, he's talking to the national account managers, just happenstance mentioned that he's been sober for 4 years. They used to be a heroin addict. He said it no different than he said the Cowboys score over the weekend. Talked about his run-ins with the law. Because with his with the level of his addiction, he's been arrested. And I found myself thinking, how is this guy standing in front of me with his drug background, his arrest background, and he's a white-collar corporate professional in a major telecommunications organization? He actually went through an image rehab. An image rehab. So, understand something. When you go apply for any job, it is presumed that you are qualified, or else you wouldn't be applying. Any job you're applying for is going to have dozens, if not hundreds, of applicants. Companies are going with this global market. You're not just competing with people in your local area. Sometimes you're competing with people in different states. And if you're still trying to go get a job in this new economy, the old way, show me where your horse and carriage is. You got a horse and buggy, or you driving a car? One of the best things you can do coming out of college is get an image consult to understand what your professional image should look like. One of the best things you can do, white collar or blue collar, is get a professional image consult, because your image is going to be on massive display in this social media driven world. I laugh when so many of you guys say, oh, well, I really don't need your services right now. I'm like, you have no fucking idea. I can look at your avatar and tell you need my services, but the problem is you don't know you need them. Problem is you don't know you need them, but your image is affecting your potential every day. Guys with a record know how important it is. They may look the part. They may be able to, but there's a point in the process where all of them are like, shit, they're going to run my background and that's going to be it. Nope, that's not true. That's not true. That's not the be all end all. That is not the be all end all. If you are saying to yourself, please don't let them run my background, please don't let them run my record, please don't let them run my record, hoping that they run your record, that it comes back something different than it is. It's going to come back exactly what it is. It's going to come back exactly what it is. The question is, are you prepared for that? Are you prepared, and can you speak to it? Shepard says, I know folks who have records. Shepard, let me ask you, what are they doing about it? You got your record. Your record is what it is. What are you doing? Are you just basically saying, I can't ever get anything other than fast food jobs, menial labor jobs? I can't get into corporate America. I can't get anything that's paying a salary. I can't get anything. There are some things that, depending upon what your record is, and you might be locked out of. But let me tell you, Most of it you aren't. Now, if you've had your veracity challenged, you may have an issue with dealing with people's money and insurance and things like that. But it's more a question of ethics than your record. She said, yeah, the problem is when you lie. So let's start off with the first and fundamental questions. First, stop lying. You go apply for a job in business to business, corporate, you go to apply for an entry-level job in sales, and they ask you, do you have a record? You say yes. Why would I say yes? Oh, why would I say yes? Because if you have done the due diligence, if you've done the work on the backside, if you've actually got your image together, you'll know that you'll be able to speak to this. Well, see, if I lie, then I won't even get a chance to talk to somebody. So if I lie, I'll at least get a chance to talk to them, and then I can run game on them. Wrong. If you lie, you're a liar. You lie, they don't want to deal with you. The worst thing to do is lie. Because if you lie and think you're going to just be able to go in there with the gift of gab, tell them something, you've blown it. Some of them work driving metro here in DMV. Many of them have found ways to survive on CDL. You don't have to survive. Why are other guys, why are guys with felonies on their records and misdemeanors and extensive arrests, why are some guys working and making six figures? Driving a BMW and wearing a nice, a nice suit. Brooks Brothers suit to work. I don't want to use Brooks Brothers. I don't like Brooks Brothers. It's a good midline suit. Nice Hickey Freeman suit to work. You like the setup? Appreciate it. So, if you're a blue collar, if you work as a contractor, let me tell you something. I know many building contractors, many people who work in some sort of development. That's littered with people who have records. When you go to work, people who wait tables are bartenders. First off, that's one of the best jobs to get, a side hustle. If you as a bartender, not a bartender, but a server. One of the servers, one of the best jobs you have. And I found this out when I started working for the Pappas Corporation back in the day. That's when I found out how many people actually had been arrested. You know how many people have been arrested for disorderly conduct? See, first thing you need to do is you need to go address your record. What is your record and how bad is it? Disorderly conduct can mean you were pissing outside at Mardi Gras. Was it when you were a juvenile? Was it just an arrest and no conviction? Whatever it is, you're going to need a professional image update. Don't try to do this shit on your own, man. You lack the skill. You don't even know what they're looking for. And if you think you're just going to be able to put a suit on and fix it, you can put a turd in the suit, but it's still a piece of shit. It's not the way you look. It's the way you behave, the way you communicate, and then your digital footprint. I'm down with the best dressed man on you. I appreciate it, man. No, he said it all starts with the mindset. Own your own mistakes and move on. No, you don't move on. See, that's the wrong thing. See, you have to address this. This is why so many people in the middle stay in the middle. You don't understand the power of image. Rich, wealthy, successful people. I'm not talking about athletes and entertainers. I'm talking about the real movers and shakers in this world. Understand the power of image and perception. They understand the power of influence. Men, BMs, let me tell you, you're the worst at image. Your image is used to beat you every day. I talk about it, your kryptonite. Yet so many of you guys, knowing your image is at the bottom, you've done nothing professionally to address it. You honestly think you know enough. You really do. You think, oh man, I got style, I got swag. You don't have shit. Because if you don't have a resume to show me, I want to see your outcomes. I want to see your outcomes. You can get a job, but can you make it to the next level? If you got a job but no career and you're 30, you got a problem. You've been in the same job title for the last 10 years, 7 years. You got a problem. This is the gig economy. Best time to master a skill. Make flyers, logos, email marketing. People don't care as long as you can do the job. Andre Hatchett, I need to get you on the show one day, man. I need to get you on the show. I need to get brother Antonio Wade on the show. I need to get Erica Williams on the show. Because we need to talk business. We need to talk business, and I need a lot of you guys to understand that if you honestly think that your image is good, the way it's getting the job done, I can tell you, 95% of men are wrong. You think your image is your appearance, and it's not. It's your way you behave and communicate. One of the biggest tells for a guy who has a record is the way he communicates. How do you communicate? Let's be honest. When you're speaking, do you sound like you got a record? Do you sound like a felon? Do you sound like a convict? Let me just use the words. Do you sound like a jailbird, a convict, or a felon? If you do, you're working against yourself at cross purposes. Take these words out of your vocabulary. Duh. Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? You feel me? Man, bro, bruh, dude. Take all that shit out of your vocabulary. Get in the mirror and start reading speeches. Take your ass back to high school and start reading speeches and clean up your language. You need to take out the pauses, the stops. You need to start getting up a thesaurus and start using words other than good. You need to become proficient in the English language because your image has already been tarnished. And if you sound like you have a record, I don't want to insult people with records. If you sound like you have a record, if you sound like what they already believe, that's 2 strikes. You're done. So you can have a record, but you can't sound like you have a record. And you can't act like you. So A, appear. You can't look like you have a record. Most guys can get that done. But behave. B. A, B, C, D. A is how you look, appear. B, you cannot behave like you have a record. It means you can't walk around thinking thinking that the world is out to get you. You have to behave as though nothing wrong has ever happened. You have to adopt an abundance mentality. You have to start operating out of gratitude, empathy, humility, not fear. See, one of the things the guys with records tend to have a problem with is they don't know how to behave. That rebelliousness, that chaos, that anarchist attitude, that shit goes over there. Save that somewhere else. But when you're going to work, you go and do the job. And what people are going to be looking for guys who have records, that's antisocial behavior. You need to be pro-social behavior. You need to be the most social. Oh, that means I got to kiss ass and keep it real. Yeah. If you want to be successful, yes. If you want to keep it real, stay broke. I don't know anybody that's keeping it real that's got any real money. Don't know anybody that's keeping it real that's got any real money. And a little bit of freedom that you talk about you have, cool. If that's what makes you happy, great. No heat, no judgment. But I don't know anybody personally that does not want to have more. They want it, but they want it on their terms. You don't get to make those calls. This is why sitting down with a professional, because when a professional like myself talks to you, I sit down there and look at you, see how you walk, you move, you look, you carry yourself. I can tell you, just tweak this, do that. Makes all the difference in the world. Behave, communicate. And then your digital footprint. Yeah, dressing well is the easiest part. It's the easiest part, but that only gives you 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Welcome to Life and Style by Kevin. So I used to count to 7. You get 7 seconds before they make 11 different assumptions. But after you get that 7 seconds, that puts you into the no or to the maybe category. When you're in the maybe category, they're looking at how you behave and how you communicate. Can you actually communicate well? Can you actually express yourself in a verbal and written form? Sadly, too many men today do not communicate well. Listen here on YouTube. I'll hear guys speaking on panels, and I'm feeling like, am I listening to a 4th grader? Well, I don't communicate well. I don't express myself well. That is not acceptable for a man 30 years old or older. You're not allowed that. You're not allowed to say, I don't express myself well if you're over 25. Let me go ahead and make it real, okay? 18 to 23, really 24, you get all the passes in the world. On my Patreon, I told guys, life starts at 23. From 23 to 25 is when you're supposed to be putting up the toys, putting up the childish things, getting into your man shit. Because at 25, the world starts judging you harshly. At this point, you go into winner or loser category. I didn't make the rules, and I don't care about why they are. I deal in outcomes. By 30, you should be able to, by 25, you should be able to take what's in your mind and communicate it well to anyone over there. And if you don't, then lose sleep. Go back to school. Go to Toastmasters. Go to improv classes. Do multiple things to become a much more effective communicator. It is not people's fault that you're often misunderstood. If people are always misunderstanding you, that's your problem. That's your problem. If people are always misunderstanding you. If you're always under, man, people just, no, man, that's you. Take a trade and invest. No. Everyone is not a tradesman. You don't have to just do trades. You can do white collar work too. See, what you don't do is you don't listen to. I'm glad everyone has an opinion, but opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Everybody's not white collar. No different than everybody's blue collar. There are plenty of people in white collar positions with horrific pasts. I know you're moving around the ATL streets. I know you're in the Phipps area. Be careful around those parts. Why? Why do I need to be careful? How can I become articulate? Hire a coach. Let me tell you, here's the answer to it all. Hire a coach. I need you to take your right hand, I need you to go into your back pocket, and I need you to break out thousands of dollars and go hire a coach. You cannot expect to fix a checkered past for free. You cannot expect to get the heights of hype for nothing. See, far too many guys today, you want this life, but you want it working 40 hours a week. Rich men, wealthy men, Blake Henry, Brad Lee, Ahmed, Keith, Enrique, Henry, high earner, not rich yet. Guys who are high earners, they're putting in 12 to 16-hour days for 10 years to get to that level. I don't care. Miss sleep. A lot of you guys have never really struggled. I don't really understand some of you guys. I'm like, if you never went to college and pulled an all-nighter, I was up for 3 days studying for a test. Guys, shout out to O'Shea. Got people who go to medical school. They're up exorbitant hours. People first year law school. They're reading 10 books a week. Look, man, if you want to stay making $50,000 for the rest of your life, knock yourself out. Stay single, have no children, live paycheck to paycheck, and own nothing. The only way you're going to make more money in this world is you have to increase your marketable skills to make more money per hour if you're working hourly, or multiple streams of revenue. And all this knowledge is not free. If you honestly think you are going to go onto YouTube or Instagram and learn the secrets of success for free, let me tell you how wrong you are and how unprepared you are for it. Because you are wasting your most valuable asset, time. The time it takes to try to scour YouTube to get something for free already shows you have a poor mindset because you are wasting time. If you make $100,000 a year, that's $50 an hour. If you spend 4 hours searching for something, that's $200 of your time you've invested. That's after tax. Toastmasters it's barely a start. Toastmasters is barely a start. Barely a start. A lot of people are late bloomers. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Over the age of 18, whatever your situation is, that is your situation. See, late bloomer, what is that supposed to mean? The world does not have to care about your situation. The world does not owe you understanding. The world does not owe any of us understanding. If you're a late bloomer, that means you know you're behind. That means you better be running 3 times faster. Late bloomer. If you know you have a record, that means you're going to have to invest even more to make sure that you get that shit straight. So when you actually do tell the truth up front, you actually have a plan and a way to actually address it. Some of the most, I'll just say it, I have clients that have records and they're very successful. And some of the people that they work with, actually, their record and the way in which they handled themselves spoke well to these particular organizations. You never know what people are looking for. But you cannot have your veracity challenged. Now, if you're a thief, that kind of stuff, you're going to have a problem. With veracity, that's an issue. All right. So any questions? I got a few minutes before I got to get out of here. I got a few questions before I get out of here. Well, let me say this. If you're a felon, that does not mean you're locked out of a good paying job. That does not mean you're locked out. That means you just got to have a plan. And you don't make that plan. So let me say something else. You're supposed to be specialized and master your field. You're not supposed to try to know mine. Too many of you guys think you know my job. Well, let me ask you, do you do your own dental work? Do you do your own, when you went to court, were you your own attorney? No, you hired someone to keep you out of jail. But you watch Law and Order, you watch Judge Mathis, Judge Judy, you watch plenty of judge shows. Why didn't you play your own attorney? Because you didn't want to do that time. So your money was not as valuable as the knowledge that person had to get you what you wanted. Stop trying to do what an image consultant or a professional does. More guys would be from the middle class into the upper class if you just would step back and hire professionals. Now, if you thought I was going to give you a step-by-step formula for how to have your record not affect your image, I can't. First off, if I could, I wouldn't. That's what I make my money doing. Number one. Number two, everyone's case is a little bit different. And in order to find out you know your record. If you have a record of embezzlement, if you have if your veracity means you're a thief, or you have like that kind of stuff, that is you can still get a job, but you can still get a job. But let me tell you something: people aren't going to put you around money. DUIs, they're not going to put you behind the wheel. Domestic violence or just arrest, no charges. Look, man, that stuff can be explained away very easy in an image update, image rehab. Because here's the thing, the first thing, ask yourself a question. If you go in there and lie, if you think the average person in your situation would lie, think about what the employer is. They're looking. They're looking. And if you didn't lie, you told the truth, first off, they're like, oh, well, at least you told the truth. That gets you one brownie point. That gets you here. But what happens if you not only do you not lie, you said not only do you not lie, I actually went and had an image update. Love to be able to discuss what I've done to address these issues. And you go in there with an actual plan. That means you've actually you've prepared yourself. You've shown foresight. You put yourself above other people. What's going on, Charles? The law of compensation. Yep. Let's see if we have any questions. As a hiring manager, I'd rather them tell the truth up front. It shows character. Telling the truth up front, the truth is the easiest thing to remember. And if you tell the truth up front, that means you have somewhere to go. Yeah, I've had some difficulties in my past, or I've had some things happen in the past. However, I've done these things to correct it, and so far there's a way to talk about anything. So when I hear guys saying that it's because of my record, more often than not, it's not your record. More often than not, it is your attitude and the way you communicate. The way you behave and the way you communicate. The way you behave and the way you communicate. What about someone who just have no criminal record, just a bad image because of mistakes and attitude when younger? Can you help with that? Yes, I can. You don't have a criminal record, you got a bad image because of mistakes and attitude when you were younger. Yeah, sounds like antisocial behavior. That definitely needs to be addressed. Because understand something. No company's going to hire you no one wants to hire a problem. Hiring an employee is one of the most risky things any company can do, and it's one of the most expensive. If there's any question that you're going to cause disruption in the organization, they won't hire you. I don't give a shit about your attitude. I give a shit that you've done something about it. The world doesn't owe you understanding. What are you doing to fix it? Especially as a man. You have to fix this stuff if you want better. The average age of a fast food worker in the United States of America is 27. Where are you living and what are you doing? Yeah, somebody's been online. Man, if y'all don't start, you better start. I'm gonna start timing y'all out for calling me Kev. Call me Kevin, please. No, seriously, call me Kevin. Kevin, is it better to be liked in the workplace than to deliver and perform? Oh yes, yes, yes. If you honestly think this world is a meritocracy, so the question comes back all the way. Kevin, is it better to be liked in the workplace or deliver and perform? I perform extremely well and I hit my quota, but I don't overly socialize. I believe it's hurting me. Of course it is. Great. You make your quota. So if it was always the people who did the best, then the CEO and everybody, the top people in the organization should be the best people, the one that perform the best. No, no. And you know the answer. You know the answer. I don't overly socialize. Why not? Because there's some antisocial something there. So when everyone's going out to lunch and going out to happy hour, you're always the odd man out. That's the shit that gets you the opportunities. Managers, when they hire and promote people, when people are promoted, they want people. So what? Let's just take it. Let's just assume that the guy who never socializes and hits a quota gets promoted to a manager. What kind of manager would you make as an antisocial person? Because now you're a manager. You're not out there hitting a quota. You're managing other people's You're managing other people's personalities. And you're not a personable person. So your reps are going to do well under you? Really? Does that even make sense? I'm an antisocial manager. So anyone that gets hired, works under you, is going to have a hard time. Your reps are going to underperform. And it's going to be a bitch working for you. You're not going to inspire or motivate anybody and just do the job just because I said so. I used to do it. Man, that's not how it works. Never has been. Never has been. You coach and mentor people regularly. I'm 21. I need a mentor at this point. I'm ready to invest myself. Then go to my Patreon and sign up on my Patreon and join Patreon. And at my assistant director level, that's my mentor level. I have a couple more slots available. You get two mentor calls with me, two 20-minute calls with me a month. Because honestly, finding a mentor over the age of 21 organically is near impossible. Mentors come along early in life. If you haven't found a mentor by the time you're 18, 21, you're expected to start hiring coaches at this time. I got to get up out of here. I'm in college now. How do I navigate networking events when I have nothing to offer more experienced people? I don't know what that means. How do I navigate networking events when I have nothing more to offer experienced people? Again, somebody that needs a mentor. So what do you think? What do you think people when they're in college, they don't go to networking events because they don't have as much experience? This is where you need a mentor. See, I can't give you guys all the answers. Some of this stuff you're gonna have to go out and just figure it out. You're in college. Go to networking events. So does anybody in college go to networking events? Then if they're going and they gotta figure it out, you gotta go figure some of this stuff out. What are your thoughts on cliques at work? I think that's another way of saying you're antisocial. I think that's another way of saying you're antisocial. See, saying the word cliques denotes negativity. Basically, those people are friends and you're not a friend. The people in that clique are doing just fine. You on the outside. Kevin, do you have success stories of any clients? Yes, but I'm gonna be honest, my friend. If you've been following me You should have heard enough of my content, but I don't actually share my clients' information. I have letters of recommendation for my corporate clients, my personal clients. I don't do that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just go ahead and rubber meets the road. I don't sell myself. I don't overly sell myself to somebody. Either if you're here and I can tell you what I've done, have the track record, either you want it or you don't. It's really how it comes down to. But how can I say this? It is a scarcity negative mentality. It is a scarcity mentality that always wants somebody to prove themselves to you when they're up here and you're here. Why would somebody up here have to prove themselves to you here? And even if I share 10 success stories with clients, that still ain't you. What I did to build experience, what I did to volunteering is good. Volunteering is great. I lost you. No? I lost you what? Who said I lost? I lost you in what, Clay? What about someone who have no criminal record, just a bad image because of mistakes and attitude when I was younger? I lost you? So you're the guy who says you didn't have a criminal record, just a bad image because of mistakes and attitude when I'm younger. Can you help with that? And I answered that question. So what did I lose? No. So I would say this. The most people who have image problems, no, my man, I'm not way down there. I don't care, Clay. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't, honestly. Do you, my friend? I answered your question. But it does bring up an interesting point. Most people who have attitude problems, antisocial, prickly personalities, always think the world needs to do something for them, but they don't have to do anything for the world. See, you should be a person that people want to use. I'm going to do a video on being used and being used. See, one of the biggest things some people want, I don't want to be used. I don't want to be used. Yeah, you do. Because if you're being used, that means you're useful. No one owes you anything. No one has to go out and try to sell anything. If you have a problem, you're the one looking for help. It's like a bipolar person going to a therapist and saying, well, before I let you treat me, it doesn't matter that you're already hanging your shingle out and you've been certified. Let me look at all your other patients. No, they've got a busy business going on. That's part of the attitude problem. That's why I'm answering your question. That's part of the problem. Antisocial equals egotistical, more often than not, yes. This presumption that I'm better, that I'm above it, that I'm special, that I don't have to do it, that, yeah, all right. Those kind of, if all that stuff is really the case, then you should be having outsized results in life and should be an extremely happy person with beneficial relationships, both personally and professionally. But more often than not, it's a lot of bravado, and bluster to actually fill gaps and holes that they know tend to exist. See, doing the work is hard. Doing the work is hard, and it's actually humbling yourself. So I'm going right now and try. There you go. Appreciate it. Charity goes all the way. Charles, see, and the funny thing is, more people in the chat room are like, this is exactly right. This is exactly right. Let me tell you something. We are past the years of the lone wolf. Lone wolf antisocial people are going to have a hard time over the next 30 to 50 years. This gig economy with globalization, you are going to have to compete even harder for fewer jobs. And they're going to be in a more social environment because a lot of it's done online. You're not going to just be the strong, silent type going to work, going in the office, just closing yourself off. You will not be successful that way. That was the model 60, 70, 80 years ago. We're in a different environment. We're in a different environment. So let me speak on what somebody brought up. Got to run out. Antisocial and egotism. Thank you, Silent Sir. There's a big problem with a lot of ego-driven people. Antisocial people tend to be extremely egotistical. But here's the problem. Very rarely are you going to meet an antisocial person with that ego that has any real results to show. They got a lot of talk. They sound real good, but if you turn the volume all the way down and just said, show me your work, show me your resume, what you're going to see more often than not is a broken work history and definitely a broken work history. Personal relationships, that's a crapshoot because people tend to find each other in the weirdest places. Now, people allow antisocial and egotistical people, they tend to have longer term relationships, but they tend to not be the healthiest. But that's over here. But on the work side, see, work is very, very cut and dry. I don't put up with all that antisocial, egotistical shit. They'll just fire your ass or get you up out of there. And they'll deal with the people who are in the cliques. And the thing is, that's what you want. See, what you want is you want to go work with somebody like a Charles Faulkner or an Andre Hatchett or an Antonio Wade. And then I go work at a company and then I bring Charles and Andre on with me. And I say, you know, I'm hired on as a manager over here at ABC Company. And I know some great people. And I bring in Charles on my sales team. I bring in Andre on the engineering side. I bring in 4 or 5 people. I bring in my boys. So they don't just get me, they get 1 for 5. And we all know each other. And then we start, that's why you see why do you think when you see NFL teams, when a coach will leave, he'll take coaches with him? In college, people, they take their coaches with them. See, you lone wolf, antisocial, egotistical dudes, you're out there by yourself and you have no team. See, if I moved over here and moved Charles and Andre and Antonio with me, then if Charles actually found a position, he could do the same with us. And we all move up together. That's how my entire career was structured. I moved around with 5 people. And I moved exponentially. But you individual, egotistical, antisocial people who think you'll just work hard and not be a part of the cliques, you stay at the bottom. What's going on, Anton? Teamwork, that's what it comes down to. So, I gotta say 2 things about I'll be gone. 1, you want to be offensive, and you want to be used. When I hear somebody say, I just don't want to get used, I don't want to get used. Oh, you have little understanding. I do. I want to get used. Because people who get used are useful. If you're not able to be used, you're no good. Nobody brings somebody on who's not useful. I mean, think about it in a relationship standpoint. Do you want to date somebody who has nothing to bring to the table? They have no use? Or do you want somebody with lots of utility? Do you think people should pass up on promotions for work from home opportunities if they have to sacrifice the opportunity to social? Okay, let me answer this question. Do you think people should pass up? Do you think people should pass up on promotions for work at home opportunities if they have to socialize? If they have to sacrifice the opportunity to socialize and love with mind? So, do I think people should pass up on promotions for work at home opportunities? No. 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 When you're young, you need to be at work around as many people as you can because it's not the task you master. So let me give you an example, Silent Sir. You go work from home and you become very good at your thing, but you don't master the art of people. So you'll always have to work for other people because if you ever decided you wanted to work as a consultant in that thing, you don't have the people skills to go out and get clients and sell that stuff. See, being able to do your task on a team is far more advantageous. I say give up 10 years. Go work 5 years in a large organization, 5 years in a small organization, then go hang out your own shingle as a consultant. But you want to stay at home. See, the only work from home opportunities I ever took was in sales. But that was after being in sales for about 10 years. Then I started officing from home. But even to this day, I have an office here. Because the creative juices, the things that happen when you're just around people, we are social creatures. And you are far better in a group. So I got to run, guys. Move exponentially. Yeah, that's what I did. Being introverted is how you end up working in the same company for 15 years and never seeing what's outside. Let me talk about being introverted. Being an introvert is not a bad thing. It's when you become antisocial. See, introvert or extrovert, introverts just respect their time that they need to recharge their batteries. My best friend in the world is an introvert. I can work a room, but he's really good at working one person. Extroverts need to recharge themselves too, but they recharge around people. Introverts, you just need to pick your spots. You can still network and do it. Like tomorrow night, I'm going to a big dinner here in Atlanta. I'm going to go socialize, but I was raised as an only child. I'm kind of an introvert. I need my time with people, but I also need time to recharge my batteries. So we got this whole thing about introversion confused, thinking introvert means antisocial. That's not true. Big difference between being an introvert and being antisocial. All right, guys, I got to run. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Until the next time, I'm out. Deuces.